Hello again, everybody. That was awkward. Chris Profi, Musically Obsessed. This is a video to go along with my review of the album Somewhere in Time. Um, I had another member of the vinyl community, G-Rock, who asked me if I could rate and rank all 16 studio albums by Iron Maiden. So I've been working on that. I have my list right here. So I'm going to try, to my best ability, to rate all 16 albums by Iron Maiden, starting at 16, going all the way to number 1, all eras, Blaze, Paul Di'Anno, Bruce. Here we go. And I'm sure I'm going to end up pissing somebody off or ranking something in somebody else's wrong order, or why didn't you put this here, or why didn't you put this there? But that's what's fun about these videos. So I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I'm hoping that we'll get some other opinions on this. So here we go. Okay, all 16 albums, starting with number 16. I'm putting the XFactor at number 16. Okay, so here we go. Let me talk about the XFactor. I love Blaze Bayley, first of all. I'm a huge Blaze Bayley fan. I love all of his solo stuff. I think he's a great vocalist. He's got such a unique voice. I feel like what he lacks in vocal ability, he makes up for with passion. He has a lot of passion behind his vocals. Unfortunately, I don't think that the songs that Maiden wrote for him fit his vocal style. And the XFactor, I think that at the time it came out, Maiden was sort of falling apart at that time. I feel like the production on that album is very muddy. I don't like the production at all. I feel like, the highlights are Sign of the Cross, Lord of the Flies, Man on the Edge for me. And then after that, it kind of falls apart and all the songs sort of bleed into each other. So I don't know. I know there are a lot of people out there who really like the XFactor. It's not an album I pull out that often. There's another good song called 2 a.m., but I actually like Blaze's rendition of that. He did an acoustic classical album a couple years back, and he did 2 a.m. on that as well. And I like his version post-Maiden better. And again, I think a lot of that was the production on that album for me. It just didn't sound like an Iron Maiden album. So I'm putting that at number 16. Number 15, Virtual 11. Now, I remember listening to this album after the XFactor, of course, because it came out after the XFactor. And the first thing that struck me was the brightness of the album. I feel like it's brighter. It sounds more like a Maiden album to me. And you've got some great songs. Future Real is awesome. The Klansman is awesome. Lightning Strikes Twice. I like Angel and the Gambler too. I just don't like how long it is. But I like the idea of that. That song could have been edited though. But the idea of it's pretty cool. So Virtual 11, I think the songwriting's better, and also I like the production. It's a brighter album, okay? Now, number 14, A Matter of Life and Death. Looking at it again, I love the song For the Greater Good of God. That is a classic Maiden song. That made my top 10, by the way. And I love the song The Legacy by Yannick Gers. But other than that, I don't know. I really don't go back to that album. So I'm putting that at number 14. Number 13, The Final Frontier. It's got a few more songs that I like on it better than A Matter of Life and Death. I love The Man Who Would Be King. I love When the Wild Wind Blows. I love Isle of Avalon. But what ruins this album for me is that damn Satellite 15 in the beginning, that whole sound effect thing in the beginning that goes on forever. It just kind of ruins the album for me. So I'm putting The Final Frontier at 13. All right, number 12, Dance of Death. Good album. I love Wildest Dreams, Rainmaker. No More Lies is a really cool song. Montsegur is a great song. I love the title track, and Passchendaele. That's got a lot of great songs on it. And yeah, coming in at number 12, Dance of Death. All right, now this album is this ranking of this album is probably gonna surprise some people. Oh, here we go. I'm just waiting to hear these comments. But number 11, I'm putting Number of the Beast. I know for a lot of Iron Maiden fans, this might be their number one album or number two album. For me, I don't really go back to Number of the Beast that much. Um, I feel like the songs Run to the Hills and Number of the Beast are overplayed to me. Um, Also, I love Hallowed Be Thy Name. That is a great song. But I feel like I've heard Hallowed Be Thy Name and Run to the Hills and Number the Beast like thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And the other songs on that album don't grab me as much. Plus, I never really liked the cover artwork. And again, oh, I know maybe I'm stepping on Iron Maiden toes here, but I felt like the cover artwork was too busy on that album. So, and again, it has nothing to do with the music, but I'm going to put Number of the Beast at 11. Okay. Now, the top 10 Maiden albums of all time. Number 10, No Prayer for the Dying. I think it's an interesting album to listen to. I like what Blaze. I like what Bruce was doing with his vocals. He was getting more of like a growling sound in his vocals. I feel like the songs were a little bit more rock and roll-esque. You had Tail Gunner, Holy Smoke, the title track, which is great. Um, I love Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. You have an underrated song, Public Enema number 1. I like Hooks in You. So there's a lot of good songs on that album. And that album is actually growing on me the older I get and the more I listen to it. So I'm putting No Prayer for the Dying at number 10. Number 9, Book of Souls. One of my favorites from the later years. You have some classic songs, The Red and the Black, Book of Souls, Death or Glory, Tears of a Clown about Robin Williams, and the just megalithic Empire of the Clouds. I feel like the songwriting on that album is strong. I feel like Bruce's vocals are very strong. It's a really good album. Okay, number 8, Brave New World. This was the return of Bruce Dickinson. You have Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, Blood Brothers, The Nomad, Dream of Mirrors. It's just a great album. Not a huge fan of Kevin Shirley's production, but you know what? The songs are great and the band sounds awesome. So coming in at number 8, Brave New World. Number 7, the first album by Iron Maiden. And again, I'm giving love to Paul Di'Anno. I love Paul Di'Anno. The first 2 Maiden albums, they had a punk vibe to them. Heavy, fast, in-your-face, aggressive music. The first 2 albums don't sound anything like the other albums. And I love Paul Di'Anno's vocals. Again, what he lacked, he was a lot like Blaze. What he lacked in vocal ability, he brought passion to those vocals. But on the first album, you got Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, and the title track, Iron Maiden. So it's just a great album. All right. Number 6, Peace of Mind. It's got 2 of my favorite Maiden songs on it, Flight of Icarus and To Tame a Land. To Tame a Land is underrated. They got to play that song more live. That is a great song. Excuse me. Now, the top 5 Iron Maiden albums. Number 5, Fear of the Dark. I love this album. I love the variety on this album. Again, Bruce was doing more of like a growling sort of thing with his voice. But I like the variety. Like, you get some rock and roll songs, you get some classic Maiden songs, you get a ballad, you get a little bit of everything in here. I love the song Afraid to Shoot Strangers. I feel like that's an underrated song. I love the title track, Fear of the Dark. I never get tired of hearing that song. Wasting Love is a great ballad. I like I said, it's got a rock and roll vibe to it, like a hard rock vibe. Chains of Misery and Weekend Warriors, I love those 2 songs. They're, like I said, it brings a sort of a hard rock sound to Iron Maiden. Something different, which was good. And I feel like that album I can put on now and listen to it and go, yeah, these songs are not overplayed for me. And actually, I can hear some things in them that I really do like. So like I said, I've always loved Fear of the Dark, even from when I first heard it on cassette. It was always a great album, and I have to put it at number 5. All right, now we get into the meat and potatoes of this list. Number 4. Then this was difficult because these top 4 albums are all classics. Number 4, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I remember when this album came out, my other friends were Maiden fans as well, and they kind of didn't like this album because they're like, oh, it's not as heavy as their other stuff, and what's up with the synthy guitars and all this other stuff. But I mean, this album, Moonchild, The Clairvoyant, the title track alone, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, it's just classic Maiden. I love the cover artwork. It's awesome. Number 3, Power Slave. And 2 songs, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner and Aces High. I mean, Aces High, when you think Maiden, Aces High comes to mind. All right, now, the top 2 Maiden albums. Number 2, Killers. Again, Paul Di'Anno love. Murders in the Rue Morgue, Innocent Exile, Killers. The last song, The Drifter. Great stuff. Again, I love the production of this album. I love Paul Di'Anno's vocals. I love sort of the punk vibe that they had. It's just a great album that's really grown on me. As a kid, I never really listened to Killers that much. I was more into like the Bruce stuff. But as I've gotten older, listening now, Killers is, like I said, it's now number 2 for me. It's become a great album, and the cover artwork is just iconic. I love that. So that leaves me with number 1, and if you watched my other video from today, you'll know what it is, Somewhere in Time. It's holds a special place in my heart. It was the first Maiden album I ever got into. I love the songs. I love Somewhere in Time. I love Wasted Years. I love Alexander the Great. I love Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. I love Deja Vu. I love the futuristic vibe of it. It was the beginnings of those synthy guitars, but it wasn't as much as Seventh Son, and the cover artwork, again, is just phenomenal. So there's my rankings. Let me tell you them again. At number 16, XFactor. Number 15, Virtual 11. 14, A Matter of Life and Death. 13, The Final Frontier. Number 12, Dance of Death. Number 11, Number of the Beast. Number 10, No Prayer for the Dying. Number 9, Book of Souls. Number 8, Brave New World. Number 7, Iron Maiden. Number 6, Peace of Mind. Number 5, Fear of the Dark. Number 4, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Number 3, Power Slave. Number 2, Killers. And number 1, Somewhere in Time. So there we go. That's what I think. And I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm sure I'll probably get many thoughts. Why did you do this? Or why did you do that? Or I can't believe you did this. Or why didn't... So, but that's what's fun about these videos. So, all right. Enjoy your day.